Welcome to Dead Man Talking. Tonight's story is from the incredible mind of Kennis0505 over on Reddit No Sleep. Well, of course, as ever, please do let us know what you thought down below in the comments box. Please do like and share. Well, it really does help with the channel and our community further. And why not hashtag TeamFEAR and DMT's Cryptid crew. And so, with that aside, let's get into tonight's story, entitled The Family Farm. Let's get straight into that. Being the eldest child, Mark knew he would end up with a family property. He just didn't know it would be this soon. His father's health had been going downhill, so he moved his wife and kids back to the old homestead. It was a massive decision, but he wanted to make sure his dad was receiving the proper care he needed, and of course his siblings didn't offer. They only cared about themselves, and they would be no help. And with all the change and the stress of this move, Mark decided to take a walk into the woods to clear his head. He had always loved this place. His home sweet home was a 500-acre piece of heaven, nestled in the Ozarks. If he hadn't been so ready to experience the world, he probably would have never left. He knew this place better than himself. He knew every fallen tree, every rock face, and every spring. However, after 30 minutes of walking, he stumbled on something he had never seen before. A cabin. The sight of the old cabin shocked him to his core. He had walked this particular trail hundreds of times, and this cabin wasn't here before. It couldn't have been here before. And as he stepped onto the porch, he could tell it was old, but it wasn't in bad shape. The old iron latch slid easy, and the door opened wide. It was a humble home and with 3 rooms. The main room consisted of a fireplace and a wood-cooked stove, and there were 2 empty rooms on both sides of the living area, and he assumed were bedrooms. Now, he was surprised he hadn't run face first into a spider's web yet. He grabbed his phone and turned on the flashlight. He didn't see any cobwebs in the corners. The house was empty, except for the old cook stove and a beautiful antique table, and with a book laying on it in front of the captain's chair. The table and the book didn't have the first hint of dust on them, and that's strange, he thought to himself. He sat down in the chair, curiosity getting the better of him. He opened the book and realized it was a diary. Even though he felt wrong, he couldn't help but read at least one entry. June 6th. 1806. Pa is worried the livestock ain't gonna make it. The trip was rough and they aren't acting right. He's starting to regret buying this piece of property. My objection fell on deaf ears. Of course, he wouldn't listen to a girl, even if I am his only child. Ma is sick. She's ate up with consumption. I wish we had never left Virginia. After reading this, he couldn't walk away. June 8th. 1806. If things don't change, we won't have anything left. Majority of our livestock is dead or went missing. The rocky ground ain't fit for growing crops, and Ma ain't been out of bed for 2 days. I don't got time to write because there's so much that needs to be done around here. My God, Mark whispered to himself. What an awful situation. I have to know how they dealt with it. And so he continued. June 18th, 1806. Today was an odd but wonderful day. I was awakened by Pa's screams for Ma, and she had vanished, and after hours of searching, we had all but given up. However, Ma came strutting in, like she had never been sick at all. It was a miracle. June 22nd, 1806. It seems our struggles are over. After Ma got better, all our livestock that had vanished found their way back. The crops have found new life in this rocky ground. God has smiled down on us for sure. The only thing aiding me, I swear, I can see something in the trees. Pa said it's all in my head and that I should be just glad things are finally working out. It's probably just stress. July 1st, 1806. Everything is better than can be expected. I'm still seeing the shadows moving in the trees. I quit bringing it up to Pa, though. He's starting to question my sanity. I'm glad we aren't in Virginia anymore. He would have me committed, especially for what I told him about Ma. See, I heard her talking to herself, saying, "I can't do it," over and over. The only look she gives me is one of sorrow. I'm just so confused. July 7th, 1806. We have a problem. It started with the squirrels and the rabbits. They started circling the house, single file. Well, that was early in the morning. By midday, the deer and the coyotes had joined. By this evening, the bears and the wildcats followed suit. They ain't trying to attack us, and Pa stepped outside to scare them off. They flat out ignored him. I don't think there'll be much sleep tonight. What in the hell kind of diary is this? Mark thought to himself. This has got to be some kind of prank. He put down the diary and started to walk away. But there was a nagging in him. He had to know what happened, and so he walked back over and sat back down. July 8th, 1806. These critters are walking on two legs like men and will have joined through tonight. I'm so scared. This doesn't make any sense. It's now on dinner time and they have started howling and growling and screeching together in a pattern. It's almost like singing a church hymn. I feel like it's going to be another long night. July 9th, 1806. The godforsaken chanting from these damn animals. It's so loud it feels like the cabin is vibrating. Pa tried to get through them. Got hurt real bad. That's the strangest thing, though. It wasn't from one of them hell beasts as we started calling them. As soon as he stepped out, something we couldn't see picked him up and threw him back into the cabin. We heard awful snap and his legs were twisted at the knees. I'm not sure how much more we can take. We lost Pa a few hours after our last rope, but he didn't pass from his injuries. The chanting got even louder after he tried to get out. All I know is Pa let out a chilling scream and blood poured from his ears. And then he was gone. Ma's in a daze, and I can't say that I blame her. July 10th, 1806. I should stop writing to this, but I figure if I die, I want someone to know what happened here. Ma's mind is gone. She keeps apologizing to Pa's lifeless body, saying that it's all her fault. And I finally hit my breaking point and screamed at her. I told her she needs to get a grip and help me figure out what to do. And that's when she told me she had made a deal with something she couldn't see. She said she had summoned a creature most awful in exchange for her health and prosperity with Pa. She'd give me up. Her mind is broken. That old world nonsense is just that, nonsense. It's gotten quiet. I'm just scared to look outside. I think I'm going to try to sleep this evening. I'll figure a way out in the morning. July 11th, 1806. This morning there was a knock at the door. I answered it hoping this nightmare was over. In the doorway there was a tall, handsome fella about my age. I rushed him into the cabin, quickly looking to see if hell beasts were anywhere to be seen. "They're gone, lass," said the man in an accent similar to Ma's. He turned to Ma and she let out a scream. He cackled in response. "You thought you could skip out on our deal, huh? Well, as you can see, we don't really like being taken advantage of." Ma went to speak, but was cut short when the pale devil ripped her tongue out of her mouth and began to chew on it. And after what seemed like an eternity, he turned towards me, and what was said between us will remain between us. Unless it concerns your fate. If so, this conversation will be revealed at an appointed time. After that last entry, Mark threw the diary against the wall and sat there in awe. He was trying to wrap his head around this bizarre journal, finding this weird cabin, wondering if he was losing his mind. A familiar voice interrupted his thoughts. "I see you found the old homestead and your great-great-grandma Kate's diary." Confused, I asked, What's going on here, Dad? I've walked this trail 1,000,000 times and I never seen this cabin here. His dad couldn't meet his eyes as he began revealing the disturbing truth of their family. Son, everything in that diary was real. Everything is revealed to you now because you have to carry on this curse. All the prosperity that I have had, you will now have. You have to bring the creature, your firstborn. All the air have been sucked out of the room. The hell I will. You have lost your mind. I'm not giving up any of my kids. This isn't real, Pops. I'm your firstborn and I'm standing right here in front of you. You didn't give me up. His health was worse than he thought. Maybe he had undiagnosed schizophrenia. You had an older brother, he said as tears welled up in his eyes. When the cabin appeared to me, my father and I had the same conversation. Bullshit, Mark exclaimed. Son, please calm down and listen. The Faye folks struck a deal with Kate. On top of money and success, any evidence of the firstborn will be erased. No one will remember them except for you. Mark just stared in disbelief. He knew his father's health was deteriorating, but he never figured it would mess with his mind this much. He softened his voice and suggested to his father, let's get you home, Pops. You really need to rest. As he walked towards the old man, a cackle came from one of the empty rooms, and there stood the pale man himself. Kate had him pegged. He was a handsome fella, with pale skin and light hair, but what she failed to mention was the milky white eyes. Mark jumped in front of his father and squared off ready to fight, and the Fey man just laughed even louder. What are you gonna do, lad? He quizzed Mark. He started to speak when the pale man cut him off. Everything he told you is true. When your ancestors' old homestead appears, it's time to pay the debt that is owed. Mark couldn't believe this was happening. The Fey man continued. You seem like a good man. You are probably thinking that you can find another way to break your family's deal. But that is why every new generation finds the diary. You read it so you learn what will happen if you don't pay. Mark's eyes welled up with tears. He knew he could beat this somehow. He just had to find a way. The Fey man spoke again. I've seen that look before, and if you don't bring me what is owed tonight, I'm gonna have myself a little fun with your wife, and make you watch as I peel the hide from her and feed it to your children. And after that, he vanished. As Mark helped his father back home, he made his decision. He would run with his family and never look back. There was no way he would give his children over to that pale devil. When every curse can be broken, there is always a loophole. He just had to find it, and find it quick. His eyes popped open, and he very wearily sat up in bed. The one thing his poor old dad forgot to mention about the curse is the guilt in dream form. He didn't try to run like he wanted to, and the guilt of it eats at him every morning when he wakes. And since his wife passed away last June, his health has been going downhill. He had been checking the trail once a week, and he checked for the old homestead to appear. And 3 weeks ago, it showed up, and Mark knew what he needed to do. His son will be moved in by the end of the week. It's time to pass down the farm to the next generation. Wow. Certainly another one. Wow. What a refreshing and an intriguing take on the found document or diary type story. I hope you guys enjoyed that one as much as I, and of course a huge thank you to the author, Kennis0505, over on Reddit, No Sleep. I hope you enjoyed my rendition, Kennis, and I certainly look forward to more of your work in the future. Well, guys and girls as ever, you know the drill. Please do let me know what you thought down below in the comments box. Please do like and share. It really does help build the channel and our community further. Why not hashtag TeamFEAR and DMT's Cryptid Crew. If you're an aspiring writer or would just like to have a crack at things like myself, then why not get in touch with me at the brand new contact email, which is, as on screen, contactthedeadone@gmail.com. I really look forward to hearing from you. As ever, guys, I hope you're all fighting fit, getting stuck in and getting back into a normal swing of things with work or school. I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to look forward to Halloween earlier and earlier each year. Let me know down below if you have any ideas you'd like me to put together for a Halloween special for you to all sink your teeth into. But above all, guys, remember, be safe, not sorry.